you're basically saying the same thing. If you can't work together, you can have the greatest technology and everything else, but if you don't have those basic emotionally intelligent skills, things are going to fall apart. So, thank you. So, hearing Michelle talk, how many of you can resonate with that? Okay, great. That you and so you have that in your organization, that sense that you can all work together and good.
Yeah, because you could, like she was saying, you can have the master's, you can have the PhD,
yep.
If you don't have the social skills. And we know people that are very intelligent and they tell you how to do everything, but they don't have the social.
Absolutely. Yeah. So those are key.
Trying to get everything, like you said, you're trying to get all of those skills combined in one person, all the people that you work with.
Right. So it sounds as though that's something that's working well in your organization. Fabulous. Hey, who else would like to share what's working well in your group? I'm sorry, forget your name. Anita.
Program planning and research.
Okay.
And training, so to make sure that everybody is delivering the same program materials.
And how does that work well? What is it about that makes it work well?
It makes it easier to go from one year to the next and have a continuity of quality in the programming.
So how were you able to get that so it works?
It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's making sure that we have a clear vision of what the program is supposed to be, and that we can transmit that from when leadership changes or personnel change. That it's having ingrained in the organization a commitment to training and taking advantage of all the training that's available and not skipping.
Okay. So it's really a belief, an underlying belief that you have to have ongoing, skill training and so forth to keep the organization lively and moving forward. Okay, really good. Anyone else want to share?
Bernice Brown. Teamwork, working together as a team, as a family. It's all about us. It's not a me or I thing. It's all about us. We're working together for the success and the survival of the organization, so we can all benefit from it.
Okay. So what I'm hearing in a lot of this is this sort of commitment to this higher calling, in a sense. That, because we can all get caught up in the day-to-day personality thingies and all of that junk and the drama. And yet, if we have that commitment to a higher calling, that we can get past that, is what I'm hearing from a lot of you. We have that collaboration and teamwork. So anyone else want to share anything?
You actually tell me to make some political connections and do some of they have a lot of ceremonies and inaugurations for new political leaders.
Right.
We've been kind of doing that. I kind of like that, and some people in the organization don't. I like to hobnob, I like to have a little wine and cheese. I kind of like doing that. I wasn't doing that at all.
Okay.
I really got to do that now. And every other organization that it could be my church, it could be AARP, it could be whatever, I will bring my organization to that too. And then I also say, I have AARP and I have this and that.
Right.
I say, wow. Really? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, First Friday's live. Oh, we want to go to that.
Okay, so that's something that's working for you. It's actually part of the marketing.
Other organizations, yes.
Yeah.
Organizations.
Okay, great. So you're networking, you're getting out there, you're spreading the word.
And on that note, I would like to extend an invitation. I told you that we're opening up a location in Brooklyn, so June 22nd, we're doing our street fair. So we're looking for vendors, we're looking for these organizations to come out and post their information. Bible said my people were heritage for lack of knowledge. And I believe in educating people. So, all about them. My info,
Good, yeah, on Braver, when we have our little party at the end, try to, get, if you want to be involved in that, make sure you give Susan, right? Susan, your information. Okay. Anyone else? Jackie?
What we had to do was find other ways to raise funding because, the economy is really a mess. So,
I think it's getting starting to get better.
So what we decided to do, all of us decided to do, was to look for different ways to raise money. One place I found out about was crowdfunders. Crowdfunders? Yeah, they what they do is you're on the website and people donate to you. This is what nonprofits are doing.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know anything about
Yeah.
it. And another way is that we decided to do auctions. We want to get athletics, professional athletes, their paraphernalia and auction it on web. And there are nonprofit organizations that actually handle all of the auctioning for you. So we had a big dance-a-thon, and we really raised money, and the kids loved it. I mean, they took over, they enjoyed it, they made t-shirts. One girl made sparkles for shoes, and she really sold. So we decided that we have to work harder at working outside of the box.
So being creative.
Yeah, and that has boosted our morale, and we really, everybody is really starting to think now about other things that we could do. I mean, that's how America was built.
Absolutely. Get that creativity and innovation going. Okay.
Yeah, it reminded me of that's what worked in the beginning of our organization, was giving the people in the community their volunteers their permission to take the ball and run with it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
instead of we
Like,
just having to do
right.
anything, like I had a high school, she did her internship with us. But she was doing that. She was like out in front of the building, having bake sales to raise money for the costumes for her kids.
How many of you take advantage of interns in your organization? Yeah, I mean, it's such a great opportunity to, you know.
Teaching this now is that we haven't been recruiting.
And it's a
interns.
win-win. Yeah.
So having that energy and it's nice to give them enough leeway
Yeah, absolutely.
to try and fail.
Yeah, love
There's
that.
no guarantee.
Well, right. Although I don't believe in failure. I don't believe only an opportunity to learn. There are no mistakes.
I have a question. Did you say that there are nonprofits who help you raise money on?
There's a nonprofit, it's two nonprofit organizations, but I can't remember their names. You can Google that online and you'll be able to get it. What they do is, if you want to auction, you want to host an auction, they take care of everything, the invitations, they go out and get the people to bid. And you have to pay them a percentage though. That's how they get their money.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah. But they set up everything for you. And if you think one is too expensive, that's what we did.
Probably
What are
less
their nonprofits?
Yes, they are nonprofits.
They're nonprofits.
And their business is
percentage
yeah.
of helping you raise money for your nonprofit.
They host the auction for you. That's their business as a nonprofit. And their audience is not really.
Is it like Kickstarter?
It's a Kickstarter? I'm not familiar with Kickstarter, but I'm saying that their business, their audience are nonprofits. That's who they deal with. You can find out more about them at the Foundation Center. You familiar with the Foundation Center?
Yes.
Okay, they usually come and speak at the Foundation Center, so you can find out more about them.
Thank you. Anything?
Well, I think the one thing for Ann and I that came out of this class was a connection to our board committee that oversees our services that Ann's in charge of at this organization. And for years, that board committee would come in once a quarter and meet with us, and we would just give them reports on how things are going. But this year, with this One Struggling program, which was our emphasis, we tried to push them to get more involved. So we know that there's some talent there in art and
How have you done
marketing.
that?
Well, first, one of them helped us design the room. He was an artist, so the room that this program was going to be in, he helped us pick the colors to paint it, and he came in, he got involved in the painting and made sure that the colors matched the floor and everything. And then lately, what we're waiting, the proof is in the pudding, we're still waiting for a month now. They've been working on a marketing sales packet for us, so that they're going to redesign all of our, the board. These 3 members, they're the branding committee of the board. So they helped develop the logo originally, and now they're invested in developing the materials, our brochures, letters to clients and their families or caregivers. So they're putting together a packet for us, and also looking at rephrasing the mission and what are our key lines for that particular program to promote it. So we'll see. We've been waiting for this for weeks now since we met with them, but they promised it's about to come, and they're also helping us with the advertising for the position that we have to fill.
Okay. So is their involvement then mostly just for this one program that you were talking about, or how does that extend to the rest of the programs?
Well, they're just involved in this one program because that's been our mission to kickstart this program. Play on the word. But because the agency has a strategic plan, it's going to be redone again. Every 5 years they redo it, and they have a very active board. And, you know, this will be used, hopefully, as what we're looking to do is to develop strategic plans that fit into the full agency's strategic plan for each of these program areas.
Right. Okay, great. Good, thank you. Over there and there. And I'm sorry, you're at Christina.
Throughout the investigation, one thing that stuck out for what we're doing really well is connection and recognition from anybody who's going to interact with. So, everybody we work with obviously has some sort of connection to our mission and can actually remember, our tagline.
Right.
That's something that just kind of sticks with people, and people are able to just reiterate over and over again. And we're finding that when we do have, volunteer days or, partnerships with corporations or, more so with women, really do connect to what we do. So that initial interaction, we shot that. What I think, and now that we've got what we need to figure out is how we preserve the meat of our mission.
Okay.
And the real.
So put that aside for a minute.
And then when the grant is done, it's always like a company.
Yeah.
So it's always good for, like, for example, the internship. Let's say employee versus volunteer for an internship. And in colleges, high schools, in different ways.
They win for both. They're getting what they need from it.
Like you said, those are non-profit organizations, but they are also, those non-profit organizations are
Right. Good. Thank you. And I'm sorry, Claudia.
My comments based on what you were saying with regards to not moving grants alone. One of the questions I have is the common here is the whole year talking about facilities. So we're actually now.
Is everybody here? Just a little bit.
We're in the middle now of trying to identify what works for us is going out to the service provider.
Okay.
And our sustainability.
So that wasn't something necessarily you were doing before. Okay, great. Johnson.
Right, honestly, that's how I started out. I had to charge because I didn't see, just totally relying on just government funding. So I always charge. I try to keep it whereas it's affordable. But I always.
And, it's often, and maybe some of you have thoughts on this, but it's also, I think anytime someone invests anything, no matter how small, it makes a difference in terms of their commitment. So I think that's a big factor. Okay, so we hear a lot of really good things about what's working in your organization. What's not quite right? What are some things that are not quite right?
They ask you to be bold.
Okay, so what's not quite right?
I'm going to say that one thing that's very important is for you to somehow find out where the people who fund you, where they are in terms of their economic situation.
Oh, okay.
And they'll come up with surprise, and a lot of
I'm listening.
will not tell you that, we think that we might close next month or.
So all of a sudden they're just.
They're not they will not articulate to you that there are problems. They have financial problems. A lot of people are embarrassed about that, and they won't share that. So a nonprofit, so an organization that has been giving you funding, or a good partner of yours, suddenly will be sort of cold and distant.
Okay.
And you
have to figure that out.
No, and so what I found out is that you have to, all of the people you deal with, you have to stay online and watch, the activity in terms of the company. And so you won't get the biggest surprise of your life. And another thing is you have always try to establish new relationships. Always network as much as you can and try to establish other relationships, all the time.
Right, in case you lose some of them. So, okay, good. So it sounds like you've actually used one of your strengths, which is thinking out of the box and being creative, to address a problem that you were having. And you're so now what you're doing is not only following organizations that are funding you so you know where they are, where they stand, but also making sure that you're taking, opportunities to build new relationships.
And also the organizations you want to approach. Let's say you want to go to Ford Foundation. It's best to find out what's happening with Ford Foundation before you actually approach them. Right. That's what I mean.
Do your homework. Yeah. Okay. Michelle.
Along the same lines, what's a strength in our organization, I forgot to say, is that our organization, we've been pretty good at being able to project for how long our money's going to last.
Okay.
Far in advance, as far as we can.
Right.
Which has been pretty we've been good at that sense. Our weaknesses still is in generating that continuous funding. So there's still always that insecurity and when this might not be there. And I also think that sometimes we don't listen. I find funders will tell you that they don't have money, or they'll say to you, how you're going to sustain yourself. But we as organizations don't always hear that.
Okay.
If they're saying, we're here, we want to know how you're going to sustain yourself. We're going to fund you, but you need to show us how you will sustain yourself after you funded us. And then so because we want the money, we go after the money and not plan on how we're going to self-sustain part of it.
How many resonate with that?
Yeah.
Excellent. I think it's a really good point. Okay, so then how can you take, and we can all sort of answer this for you, or you can answer it too. How can you take your strengths? Because remember, you talked about your strengths as being that you're all committed, to that you've gone through the rough times. You're really committed. You're a solid group. You work really well together. You're able to, plan ahead with your money, right? So how can you take some of those strengths and use them to manage where you are now, which is you're not sustaining, or you're not listening, and you're not planning, I guess, what you're saying. So how might your strengths come into play to work with this challenge?
The challenge is, it's not so much that we're not listening. The challenge is where you is getting money.
Right. Which, of course, is probably the ever-present.
Is everybody's challenge. And our own challenge also, I think, is that some of us, we're new to being board members. That whole thing about fundraising, and how do you fundraise, not in $25 here and there, but we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
How do you fundraise on that level? That, I think, is a challenge. I don't know.
Okay, so how can you because what you're talking about is we're faced with a challenge in the organization. Okay, but you already know that you've got this group of committed people. So how can you use that energy, I guess, as a way of putting it? Let's just think kind of, out of the box and creatively. How can that energy be used to come up with some creative solutions?
We had an experience when our board wanted to close the building because we were arrears on our rent, and the board didn't want to be responsible for the debt
of your organization, right?
So. But we have a weakness in that the board doesn't like to do fundraising. They want to come to meetings. They want to see that all the other people taking care of the expenses. But what the community did, they organized people that wanted to keep the place open, and they came up with a business plan. And they said,
the community did this?
Yeah. If we're going to raise, you're talking about big dollars, right? Okay, we had a goal, $30,000. That was the the big number, okay? The small potatoes for other organizations, but $30,000, okay, for this purpose. And everybody came up with a plan, and there were like 20 people in the room, and everybody, the one guy's like, I want a fish fry, and other people said, yeah, I know how to do a fish fry, you know. So the fish fry became the medium, or whatever the medium is, that everybody committed to help out and make those events.
And some more than others.
And we weren't experienced in fundraising at that level. But we came up with a plan that if we had a series of events, we didn't have to do it all at one time. So it wasn't selling tickets, and then everybody chipped in what they could to donate the supplies for the event, or the energy. So one person made beautiful flyers, other people baked like crazy for 3 days. And we made a plan that we're going to do this every month, contingent on that we had space and the kitchen. But you know, that was using the resources that we had at the time. And the energy from that was so amazing. I really felt that it was going to happen no matter what. Because if somebody got tired, somebody else was...
Kathy, I think we should also get Dennis involved in this conversation, because it's a good conversation.
I will. And I just want to say one thing. So what we're saying is that if take that passion and commitment that you guys have and bring the community, based on what you're saying, bring that community in to see what they can do and help in terms of the fundraising. So, and we're going to get Dennis in, but go ahead.
I just want to add to this. I think most of us are very much interested in fundraising and raising dollars for our respective organization. And it's as well as I am. And one of the things I've come to appreciate throughout the course of this training is that sometimes you have to invest in developing your product. You really have to invest in developing your product before you begin asking people for money.
To invest in it. If you're not invested in it, are they going to invest?
You have to always, I always ask myself the question, there's two actual questions. One has to do with the sustainability question, issue that someone raised. If I give you X number of dollars, what would you do following
when it's gone
in order to sustain it? And if I give you this money, do you have the capacity to receive it? Do you have the capacity to receive it? So if you went out and you established a budget for $1 million and someone turned around and said, you know, I like you and I like your idea, I got $1 million for you. Now how are you going to manage that? You know, how will you report on your outcomes and so forth? And unless you're prepared to really tell folks exactly how you expect to implement that, how you evaluate and so forth and so on. I also think that in investing in your product, that also means, and this is where I'm at, developing our board. Developing the board to the extent that when we talk about fundraising, oftentimes what we're looking for is right up underneath our nose. And so,
well, it's kind of like what Betsy was saying in terms of using the talent.
Yeah. You know, there's people sitting, there is absolutely no way I want to go out into the community before I've had an opportunity as the executive director to peruse this entire board, to ensure myself that I've given everybody an opportunity at that table to weigh in and help me figure out what is your thing and what is it that we can do to piggyback off of that and further the fundraising effort. Because in the absence of that, you pretty much do end up looking like a Lone Ranger. You pretty much look like that individual who's doing everything without the support of the board, which is extremely dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to get Dennis in here too, so just hold on 1 minute, Susan. Dennis, I don't know if you can hear the whole conversation. It might be difficult. Have you been able to hear any of it?
No, I really can't.
Ooh. Okay. What we've been talking about is looking, because I asked them what are the strengths of your organization, so you know what's working, and there was a lot of people offering what's working around adherence to their mission, passion around their mission, the ability to work together and so forth. So we're now starting to look at what's not working so well and how can they use what's working to address the challenges. That's kind of what we're looking at. And we're going to get back to the slides in a sec.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, Susan?
I really think as not-for-profits, we really need to change our mindset and look at it as we are businesses. You know, and someone asked me yesterday, like, do you make any money? And I'm like floored every time I hear that concept, because the only difference between me and a company is that I file a 990 and I have to show 0 return at the end, and they have to show a profit. But we are in business. If you look at the Salvation Army, if you look at Red Cross, all of them are not-for-profit organizations that charge a fee. YMCA, not-for-profits that charge a fee, okay? But they are a big conglomerate business. So I really think as not-for-profits, that they should really focus more on a business aspect.
Well, it's a mindset, is what you're saying. It's a mindset.
So and
I see
Susan,
some
thank you. I don't want to cut on that, but that's exactly was the mindset here with this organizational reboot. Strategic development, it doesn't make a difference if you're running a small business, big business, or a nonprofit. This what we reviewed it's the blueprint of what does it take to run a nonprofit like a business. So that was a point well made, and that was the intention here.
Right, exactly. I saw you shaking your head. So
You don't have to end up the year even.
You don't have to end up what?
The year even.
Oh,
You
okay.
can end up the year ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfectly legal.
Right.
Yes.
Good.
You can
Which is even
invest
better.
your money that you roll over your money to your new year, etc. So absolutely good point.
Yeah, but it is really just a mindset. I mean, it is a business, and to the point said before is that when you have a business, you understand your product. And you're really clear on your product, because you can't go out and sell your product if you're not really clear on it. So that speaks to what you were saying. And it's the same thing. It's really no different. It's a service. Or you could have a business that's a service business. So, okay. So let's, Dennis, if we could go to the next slide, please. Oops. Oh, he left.
Hold on 1 second. No, he's here. Maybe he doesn't hear us. Dennis? If we could go to the next slide.
The poor guy, he probably had to go to the bathroom or something. Okay, and so we talked about some help to get you there. So next slide, please. All right, if you remember, we talked about Covey's time management thing.
Thank you.
Which I think is an important thing to keep in mind. Again, like asking yourself, where am I spending my time? Am I just spending my time putting out fires? Or am I spending my time doing some of the things that you were talking about, or some of the, the board development, or making sure my team is cohesive? Or am I just putting out the fires and dealing with the crises? Because you want to be in quadrant 2, because that will then make everything easier in the long run. Okay? So next slide, please. Okay, remember we talked about some of the stuff that can get in your way? I know this is the more sort of psychological stuff, but really this, when we're talking about things, emotional intelligence and all the things that really make an organization work, it comes down to all the stuff that gets in our way. Up here, all the self-talk we have, all the beliefs that we can't do it, all the beliefs that, or the interpretations that, this person acted this way, it means they don't want to fund me, whatever. We have all kinds of junk going on that gets in the way of being really productive. So we talked about that. So always keep in mind when you're faced with a challenge, whether it be a relationship challenge with someone in the organization or whatever. Actually, almost everything comes down to relationships, whether it be with a funder, whether it be with a board member, whatever. That start looking at, what am I thinking and feeling about this? How am I interpreting it? Because you have to be able to be self-aware to really understand what's getting in your way. And then you can have a clearer head to move forward and deal with the challenge. Okay, Dennis. Okay, we also talked about the 4 Ds, again, for time management, some of the things that you can do. Delegate, defer, delete, or simply do. And so always be asking yourself, because how many of you take on way more than you should? It's like, well, I got to do it, because, if I don't do it, it won't get done right or whatever, right? So start asking yourself, what can I defer? Where can I bring an intern in that would really help? Okay, so those are kind of the things to keep in mind. Next slide, Dennis. Okay, continue to focus on mission-specific activities and opportunities. Review your performance. you come to reboot your organization and then you don't do any of this stuff for the next 6 months. Okay, this is really just a reboot start to keep you in this process and in this mindset. It's not something you're going to do for 4 seconds and then not do. Adjust your plan as required by your customers and stakeholders. So you always have to be flexible and adaptable. Okay? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and then the whole idea of getting the word out. The idea of the marketing. All right? How many of you, as a result of taking this, have looked differently perhaps at your marketing? Anybody? Okay, how so?
Brochures, business cards, website presence, coalition development, outreach, who I do business with and why.
Okay, so you're asking yourself a lot more questions.
Yeah, asking myself a lot more
Okay. Okay, good.
For us, I mean, thinking we're going through this SWOT, thinking about what our services are and which ones we're really kind of, you know,
The core.
leaders in and experts in.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to then translate that message, push those messages on our print materials and our website.
Mm-hmm.
Also looking at the environment of right now for girls in education, math, science, and technology is huge, and there's a lot of smaller nonprofits that do what we do and have been doing it for less, you know, with smaller amounts of girls and for less amount of time than we've been doing, and we're getting all this press. So now you need to figure out how we show that we've been doing this for years.
Exactly.
Some sort of legacy behind it.
So getting the word out. Yeah, absolutely. Really good. Anybody else want to share anything? Okay. Go ahead. Next slide, please. You know, we talked about your brand. Again, this speaks to what you're all saying, that it's about really being clear on what your brand is. You know, so that because there's a feeling around a brand. Like we talked about, we were looking at different brands. There's a feeling you want people to have when they hear about your organization, and you want it to be a good feeling, you know. So, and that is created by all of the experiences that someone has with your brand, whether it's something they see, whether it's something they hear, whether it's something they feel, whether it's something they participate in. So it's really important. It's an experience. Okay, next slide, please. And also, Dennis, anything you want to add to any of that?
No, you're on a good roll.
Okay. All right. Remember, I also talked about neuromarketing. And for any of you who are interested, I just think this is, I mean, for me anyway, I think it's like really fascinating. But it's the whole idea of there is a buy button in the brain. So it's about using your, particularly with your print material, you know, contrast. Being able to show a before and after picture. You know, what does somebody look like before your service and what are they like afterwards? That's when the brain makes decisions. That's when funders make decisions. You make the decision with your reptilian brain, which is your old brain. And that part of your brain responds very well to like contrast, you know, black and white or before and after. Okay? So you want to be able to show that in all of your print stuff. Okay, next one. Yeah, those are the things. Okay, so contrast. So you want to have some kind of contrast in your marketing. You want to have the visual. You know, you want something to pop, to be able to. Now, obviously, in some of the stuff Betsy's doing, you know, that's going to be a little different situation. But you always want to show a beginning and an end. Okay, don't get really fluffy with your marketing, like, you know, we have integrated solutions for blah, blah, blah. The brain doesn't really buy that stuff. It's got to be real simple. We offer you clean neighborhoods, or, you know, we offer you, you know, girls who feel good about themselves, whatever it is. So it's got to be a beginning and an end, and concrete. Well, that's more the concrete, what I was talking about. Don't have all flashy language. Have concrete language. That's where the brain makes decisions. Even though it sounds better the other way, decisions are not made on that. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so you all mentioned, how many of you are using the whole social, how many of you feel you're making use adequately or to the best of your ability in terms of social media? Okay, great. So you feel that you are using it. Fabulous. So only one hand. So a couple, okay, a few. Because Dennis had such, know, he's like sort of the master at this, I think, at least compared to how I am. And there's just such a vast amount of opportunity for, and especially if you're working with young people, if that's your audience. I mean, they live on social media. How what works?
I saw 3 hands go up, and I'm anxious to hear from my colleagues how that works, what it looks like. Because this is an area that I'm struggling with. Social media.
You mean outcome?
Integrated it, you know, in your respective organizations.
Okay, well, who'd like to share? You raised your hand first, Joyce, so.
Marsha.
No, Marsha. Marsha, sorry.
That's the same as Joyce. We're going to experiment with the Facebook, okay? Our LinkedIn is a more professional network, but so let's use Facebook, and it's like a bulletin board kind of thing, and we put the flyers up there, and we had events, we put the photographs of events. And then when you find other organizations, like I've had other organizations friend us, and we friend them, so it becomes this like cross-fertilization of happenings that several people talked about, that so-and-so is doing this, and we're doing that, and then Facebook becomes like an online bulletin board.
Yeah.
Where you can see everybody's stuff.
Absolutely.
And then people comment, you can link it to, which I haven't personally done yet, but my colleagues in other organizations, we can link it to like ticket sales. Okay, if you click on here, you can go to Eventbrite and buy a ticket to come to this thing, this show. It's an arts thing,
So let me ask Dennis. Dennis, one of the things that came up was someone saying, you know, how does this all work? I mean, not specifics, but in other words, how, you know, he wants to start integrating this. He recognizes that social media is a really important, you know, aspect to integrate into his organization, but he's not sure where to start. So where would you say is the best starting place?
I personally think the best starting place is to probably start with Facebook, which goes out to a really large, mixed audience. It could include people that would be like in a funder group. It include people who could be relatives of people who need services. It could be people who need the services, as well as LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has the appeal to the professional audience, where that's where you're really, you know, looking at being able to get word out about your organization to potentially people who will be support for your organization. So I'd say those two are really the two that you want to refer to. I think as a first start, I always recommend to everybody, make sure that your website is very welcoming to anyone who's going to be visiting it, and it's presenting the right information that you want people to get. And then when you do use social media, keep directing people back to your website. So as you post things, post something that has a link that goes back to your website for additional information. And the more that you can use social media to drive people to your website, the more they really get more in sync with your organization. And I think that's really helpful. A really simple tip is, with the social media, is just provide frequent updates about activities or successes or whatever it might be. Because every time you provide an update, you're getting word out about your organization to that audience of people. I did a workshop about 10 days ago. It was a session for job search skills for people with disabilities. And while we were doing the session, I was talking about personal branding using social media. And I just posted an update on Facebook, one on LinkedIn, and I sent a Twitter out saying that I was involved in this session, providing people with disabilities job search skills. By the end of the day, 6 different people responded asking how they could contact those people to get their resumes and learn more about them. And actually a couple people in the session ended up getting interviews just as a result of those 2 updates that were posted. So I'm a real firm believer in social media. I think that it's a real easy way to get word out about what you're doing and who you're helping and who you're serving and generating some interest around your mission.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, definitely.
That's something that just like really, the essence of what Rodney is asking is, you know, so how do I get started with it?
Yeah, and I want to hear, you know, because I know Dennis does this stuff every day, you know.
Yes, that's the answer. Rodney, that's the answer.
Get an intern,
a
kid.
So for the people that are in the room who are doing this, who may have a slight edge on us about that, what does that feel like when you actually have to do that frequent update?
Rodney, but just before we even get specific answers, the answer is what you're saying. It's in the doing. It's in the doing it every day. And that's what's going to be, everybody can share their specific of what they get. What you at Rodney Pride is going to get is going to be specific to you. And the only way, it's not ideological, it's really something that when you do it. So in other words, you're creating a new habit.
It's a habit.
That every day you're going to go on and in the beginning.
Dennis told us something, I think last week. He had a technique in which he was able to update 3 different areas of social media within units.
So that is, but the question that he's asking.
And I needed to know from the folks that are in the room who are actually doing this, does that actually, you know, I mean, how does that look?
Well, yeah, the thing is, it is, tell me your name again.
Rodney.
Rodney, it is a habit. It's like this. Do you check your email every day?
Every day.
So it's just like that. When email first came out, the idea of having to email something or checking it every day, it's like, oh, I can't do this. But now, you every day, you probably check it every hour, right? or almost. It becomes like that. You know, maybe not. I mean, when you become at a certain level in a certain position, you don't even think about it. Well, it's the same thing with social media too. Is that it comes to a certain point where you just do it, and it is a matter of seconds. Like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Boom. What the trick is to learn when not to do it.
Don't overdo it, right?
Is to not overdo it, because once you're able to do it, it's not going to be a problem. But then some people overdo it, and then use it improperly. But it becomes very easy. You're out there, and then someone takes a picture. I mean, I have some, like, for example, on Twitter, I follow Cory Booker and all of these other, and you could just see, they just take a picture. And if someone as busy as Cory Booker or whoever, you know, can do this, like, I think any of us can, but what it is, it has to begin with our mind.
Yeah.
If you look at it the same way that you could check and you answer emails and you just send an email out to whoever it is, it does become as simple as that. Once you incorporate it into your day-to-day,
and it just becomes sort of part of your life. It's like because like for instance, God bless you, like let's just say Cory Booker's out there and it just becomes automatic, like, oh, I want to share this with my people, you know, and so he takes the picture, and that's what happens is you just get very like, oh, I want the world to know what we're doing. Let me just put a little, you know, thing out there.
Exactly, and it gets, and I think let's say for someone like Cory Booker, it does give a
connection.
If you could remember that you're doing it for a reason. You're doing it to show that here I am, I exist. These are all the nice, wonderful, exciting things that I'm doing. Don't you want to be my friend? You know, I'm not the person to know that kind of thing. Or you want to get your message across, that there's a message. For example, right now, there's the marriage equality thing. And then all people need to do is to change their picture. You're pushing on a campaign. And in your case, it would be your organization. It's what your organization is doing, is where they're at, what's happening, what are the stuff that your successes, and why should people back you up? Your challenges to get your community to be involved, especially when you're dealing with young folks. You want them to see that.
They live on that. Mm-hmm. They live on it. So I know, let me just get to, because I know, Peter, you had your hand. Oh, okay.
I agree. It's about taking that time. Nowadays, email, it's like you just do it all the time. It pops up on your computer. But even with me, I have my phone so many tools that you can use like Hootsuite. So what I do is I put all of the tweets, all the Facebook statuses up a month in advance. So I put, and you can schedule it, and it's free. There is a pro version, and with the pro you can do different things, but the Hootsuite free, I just put out certain things. So like every Monday is this, and every Tuesday is that, and I put it out in advance, and I don't have to think about it. But of course, if I want to take a picture of my students, every Friday is a fresh picture. I can't plan it in advance. So it's just about memories. It's just about getting into a habit. But there are also, that even with me, I'm, online all the time. It's hard sometimes to remember. Oh, right, I have to put this up for the organization. So I use Hootsuite, and I just I have it up weeks in advance, and the blog. So I may do a monthly blog about our curriculum, but every week I have it scheduled. This is our curriculum. This is our curriculum.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, the scheduling, because Dennis talked about that, Hootsuite. Hootsuite, right? Yeah, it's like an owl. And Dennis was talking about, Dennis, you have the thing, the brain dump, right? The brain dump, where you...
Brain dump in the calendar. It keeps it really pretty simple. I mean, what I do is every day when I get up, one of the first things I do with work is I check my email. The second thing I do is I go to social media. And then I go about, look at my calendar for the day and things like that. But you just set up a routine. And I overheard, I think it was Kathy, it's like, as you think of something, it's like, wow, this is kind of cool, maybe I should share it. You just go ahead and share it. And the more you get used to doing that, the more that you just do it. The same thing is, when I have a question about something like, gee, I wonder if anyone's had any success with this or that, I do the same thing. I go into like a LinkedIn group or something like that, and I just post a question. Have any of you tried this, or what works for you with whatever it might be? And you just get used to using that media as just part of the way that you do business. It's just becomes sort of second nature. But you have to do it. I mean, you just have to get in the habit of doing it.
And the scheduling makes it so much easier. Hold on. Yeah. Yep. And just have them hang out for 5 hours every week, and all they do is go on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, right. Instagram. And they're so good at it.
Yeah, and of course, have a supervisor look at what they're doing, right. Certain things, make sure it's something to say and do. But if it's not, it's good for anyone.
It's intimidating. It's intimidating.
But so it's about getting out of your comfort zone. But don't be, it's just not my thing. And I'm the one who does the Facebook, the Twitter, all of that. So if you want, get an intern to take that time to do it. But also, every once in a while, go on as yourself and say this is the easy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think, and I was going to say that, getting an intern, getting somebody who's really young, they love this. It's like nothing. It's like nothing. I'm sure for you, it's like nothing. And, my son is 25, and it's like, he just looks at me like, I don't get, Mom, that you don't get it. To him, it's like eating. So it's not any big for them. For me, I get intimidated. My learning curve is quite large, So, yeah.
I just want to ask a question that's the flip side of this. What is the protocol when you don't want to join someone's LinkedIn? You don't want. You mean
like if they invite, they want you?
And like every event I go to, I get 15 invitations for LinkedIn at least, and these other social media. Now, what is the protocol? What is the polite way to say, you know, at this time, I'd like
Just don't
to
accept.
pass.
Yeah, you just don't, I just don't accept.
But do I physically don't accept, or do I
Just
ignore
ignore
it?
No, you just ignore it.
You just
Right.
ignore
I don't
it
think
on-
there is a do not accept. Is there?
block it.
She can block it.
Or decline.
And the thing for me is that if it's LinkedIn, then if LinkedIn is so professional and kind of removed, unless somebody's really stalking.
Right. I just accept.
Accept, but
What people
Facebook,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Facebook,
different thing.
I don't accept unless you're my friend.
Yeah.
You know, you know.
So, but that's up to you. Because, I mean, you want to have a lot of people in your LinkedIn, you know, network. I mean, that's a good thing to have. But, yeah, so, and also, remember, Dennis created this great LinkedIn group where, and I see that he's posted things, I've put something in there. It's, you know, I think the highest put
Yes,
something.
that's, I was going
Yeah.
to say, you know, bring that up. It's there for you, it's created for you. It's the easiest way to create this new habit, because even if there's one thing that you're visiting every day, it's value added to you, and it's helping you to create this new habit.
And add information, like for instance, just the Hootsuite thing, okay? You might think everybody knows that, but they don't. So in other words, that would be something to add. Say, look guys, you know, I was in the class with you, here's a great tool that I use. You know, share that among yourself.
I have a question. So for the folks that are actually using the social media, do you think it's best if it's just one centralized person, or should there be a few people that do it? Because at our agency, it's just one person that does it, but she doesn't do it consistently. And what I find is that when we have a project or when we have an event, we have to submit stuff to her. And that becomes sketchy, and it usually doesn't happen.
That's a good question. Maybe Dennis can answer.
Dennis, do you want to take that? That's a very good question that came up.
I would tend to say it's better to have one person, but I...
You know, Visions, which is, you know, how many staffing are you all together?
50.
50. So the question is, do they, right now, they have one person centralized that takes care of the social media and social networking, and is it best protocol to keep it at one or to make it more than that?
Because they have...
I think it's a good idea to give other people access to be able to post things. Some organizations like a gatekeeper so that they have some sort of standardization for the kinds of messages they're getting out and things like that. So that's sort of like an organization choice thing. But I think when other people have the ability to post things that is they're aware of something that's kind of a cool little story or something, that you get more people, you know, adding to the mix.
Did that answer the question?
It does, but I don't think it
Well, are you concerned
Either that or set up a process where people submit to the person who's posting and get them used to that. Like you can, you know, have a contest. The person that submits the most cool little stories or whatever, you know.
Kathy, I must just take this call because about the upcoming.
I'm wondering, because then it's sort of, because I think
Hello?
what you're saying, maybe this is where
Hello?
you bring up like the
Yes?
Booker thing.
Yes.
When you do it, when
What's
you have
up?
to submit something, it takes away the spontaneity of just being able to, you know, post something. Like, is that, because...
156 William Street. It's right off the Brooklyn.
Is make that person in charge, give them a specific day and time, that this is the day and time that they do, that they put on a regular basis.
The scheduling.
Yeah, schedule, this is when you do it. I would really hesitate in letting anyone do it from your website, because you will inevitably have somebody who sends out the wrong information or inappropriate information to a whole group of people.
And you can't take it back at that point.
You can't take it back.
So my thinking is, if you're gonna do the scheduling, like on Hootsuite or something, you know, or like Dennis is saying, every Monday, you know, this is gonna, you know, every Monday I'm gonna put out a quote or something that has, so you can submit to that person for the blog or for whatever it is you're having, and then they will schedule that to go out. And then I would think spontaneous things, if there's an event or you're out somewhere and you see something, that you know, take the picture or whatever you want to do and then post it, you know. But I think you could schedule it, put it, you know, schedule it all together. So hold on, there and then in the back. Oh, I'm sorry, were you gonna, okay. Maybe this will answer.
It seems to me there's a management problem here. If it's somebody's responsibility to doing that, why isn't the supervisor all over them when it doesn't get done? I mean,
Okay. It's a good question.
in which case.
It is.
Uh-oh. Because it's...
Well, I also think what might help is if she, each week automatically, if this is calendarized.
Yeah,
Where
see-
she sends out a blast to
Right.
all employees, what are the new events for this
Yeah.
week? Please send them to me.
Yes.
I will be posting on Monday or whatever. I think that's what we have to.
Yeah.
We have to get more.
That makes sense. And then schedule that.
People forget and they don't
Exactly.
send
It sounds like it's more arbitrary. Whereas if you have it more scheduled, it makes more sense.
About making sure the message is the correct message and stuff. Perhaps a few key program leaders can be given permission to do this work instead of it all falling on
One person.
Falling on 29 million other things to be thinking about as well. And the
Yeah.
program leaders have an investment to knowing if their message is getting out.
Right.
So they'll get it done.
Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
reason why I ask is because we have a fitness instructor. She teaches Zumba,
Mhm.
and one of the weeks that she did a class, I took a picture of the class from the back of the room, so
Mhm.
no one's face was shown.
Right.
It didn't require a release, and she put that picture on her Facebook page.
Her personal Facebook
Yes.
page? Oh.
And someone who comes to Visions saw that on Facebook and then asked, could they be a part of the class? So when I asked about other people submitting, I didn't necessarily mean big stuff, but just simple captions of things that are not. or that
Well, see, she put it on her personal Facebook page, which is a little
but
different.
It got someone else.
Yeah, actually,
It wasn't
yeah.
the organization's page. And a lot of the times, that's the way we get
Yeah.
interest, is through staff and through friends, not
Yeah.
necessarily through our website.
Well, that would make, I mean, to me, that would be, I mean, if you're putting something on your personal page, then again, I mean, you could also, you want to be careful of people posting crazy stuff on their personal page that has to do with your organization. So,
Opportunity to post pictures, I don't think so, right?
LinkedIn, I don't know, Dennis? Oh, we're done. Dennis, can you post pictures on LinkedIn?
Can I do what?
Can you post pictures on LinkedIn?
No, you can't.
Oh, okay. I didn't think so either, but,
No, you can provide, if you have the pictures in a internet file, you can provide the link to them.
yeah.
But you can't
You
post
have
the
links,
pictures
but,
themselves.
yeah. Okay. Also, Dennis,
Outside of your own picture.
from your side, can you bring the PowerPoint back up?
Yeah, the PowerPoint's up.
Oh, we're not, there it is. Okay. Sorry, it was my fault.
I was just going to add one thing to the conversation
Mm-hmm.
about social media.
Go ahead.
You know, the first thing we have about getting word out is people. And, you know, one thing that you might want to consider is that you can create a couple of very simple rules for people, like you don't name customers or coworkers. All of your posts need to be positive, and get people used to the idea of posting on behalf of your organization. I had a great day at work today. You know, we had a client who blah, blah, blah. I mean, when I worked for Nordstrom, that was one of the real strong things about Nordstrom's marketing was that their people did so much of the marketing by posting things on Facebook and Twitter and things like that.
I did notice that.
You know, talking about the cool stuff that they had for their anniversary sale and things like that. And it was just really just a few basic guidelines. You know, you don't name customers, you don't name coworkers, and everything is positive. And that's another way that you can utilize social media, is just get people used to talking about their happy experiences working for you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, could you go on to the next slide, please?
Sure.
Okay. Continue to build your web presence and impact and design customer-focused marketing materials, and what we were talking about before. Okay, go ahead. Oh, I just wanted to mention, I learned this a while ago, and I just think it's a fabulous method of feedback, whether it be that you're giving us feedback about the program, giving feedback to somebody in your organization or whatever, but it's called the LCS model. And all it is because, you know, people just don't like feedback, because we you know what, we sort of assume feedback is criticism, let's face it, for the most part. So with this model, it's always sharing. That's why I asked you first today, what's going well in your organization? What's working? So you give the likes to somebody first, if you're giving personal feedback. What it is you really like, what do you see that's working? What's the positive here? Then you give a concern. But you don't give a concern without giving a suggestion with it. And that's where most people fall short. Is, you know, okay, they do the first two. You know, they give the positive stuff, they give it's almost like, this is what I like, but, it's not about a but, it's and. You know, and here's my areas of concern, and here's a suggestion for each area that I'm concerned about, okay? They don't have to be, you know, like majorly well thought out suggestions, but the point is that you want to, anytime you're giving feedback and you have a concern, you want to make sure that you're offering a suggestion around that. And it really, really makes a difference when you're having to give, how many of you have to give feedback on a regular basis? It can be difficult, it's challenging for most of us, particularly if there's someone who, as Joyce was saying, when you had the rotten apple, but he left him on his own, I guess. But you know, it's hard. So this is a really good method, and it brings a more positive energy to the process. So it's just something I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, Dennis. Okay, you can change, there you go. All right, so the next phase of our program is the coaching aspect of the program. And in a minute, there'll be a slide that is talking about what that will look like. But there will be 4 dates coming up. It's going to be every other month, starting in May. And when we get to that slide, you'll see the dates. Phone, this is going to be, God bless you, God bless you. Phone group coaching, all right? So I'm sure you've used the term and so forth. I want to share with you, I mean, we're certified coaches and actually credentialed coaches from the just to let you know that coaching is a very unique relationship. It works on the belief that we believe all of you are whole, creative, and resourceful. Doesn't matter what your organization is like or not like, doesn't matter whether it's successful or not successful. We see everyone that we work with as whole, creative, and resourceful. May not have all the answers right then, or not all the experience, or may not be top of mind, but you are whole, creative, and resourceful. And you actually always know the answer. So what does that mean? People go, well, I don't always know the answer. Well, yes, you do. Okay? Or we believe that you have the ability to find the answer. Okay?
We also know that you have the answer, and we have the answer for you, because you're in your organization, you're in your environment. What works for me not necessarily will work for you.
We're not consultants. We don't say to you, at least in a coaching role, we're not consultants. We don't say, well, this is what, because what does a consultant do? I mean, basically you call in a consultant, what do they do? Yeah, they give you advice. They come in and say, okay, I'm going to analyze the situation. This is what's wrong. This is what I think you should do. Goodbye. Okay? That's totally not what we do. Okay? We do not give advice as coaches. Because as Hai is saying, it's based on the idea, you guys know, we believe you know best. Okay? The agenda is always set by the client. So when we're doing these 4 sessions of coaching, we're not going to say, okay, this time we're going to coach around blah, blah, blah. We want to know from you, what's the point of us making an agenda? It may not address your needs. So that puts the responsibility on you to send, we'll send out an email and ask for your what you want. But what do you want to be coached on? What are the specific areas that you feel, given the information you've gotten in these classes, what areas do you still feel that you would like some coaching around? Okay? Coaching is co-creative and non-hierarchical. So in other words, it's an alliance. It's not like we're the boss or something and you're the student. It's a co-creative relationship. But accountability is a very important part of coaching. So when you're coaching, for instance, we're going to have 4 sessions. Now our sessions are going to be kind of far apart, but the part of that is purposeful in that you'll have time to work on things that came up in the session. Okay? We always say most coaching work occurs between sessions. because we're going to be looking at things. You're going to walk away from a coaching session with some sort of a plan in your mind that you've created that will help move you forward. And then we're going to be checking as a group, hey, what'd you get done?
So I just want to put like a little bit of a frame around this. The idea is you came in for this intense learning, and we did do intense learning, and we want to follow you through the upcoming months to see how you're implementing it at your organization, implementing the learning at your organization. We want to hear what's going well, what challenges are coming up along the way, and then coaching you through your challenges. Sorry. So that's the idea of why we're spreading out the coaching sessions. We're doing them bi-monthly. Kathy said it brilliantly, where how coaching works, so things shouldn't come as a surprise for you, what the belief system is based on, and the fact that for it to work, you have to be accountable. You have to show up for the sessions. You have to prepare for the sessions, and without a question, it's energy, and it's very much exactly the way we're bringing it out to you. If we would just end today, then you would go home, and whether or not you would implement it, you'll feel good because the learning was insightful. Like I always say, insight is cheap. It's going to fleet. You're going to go back to your desk. A lot of pressure's coming on. Some funders are going to cut you. Some funders are going to give you too much load of work. Reporting becomes overwhelming. We just didn't get it because it's just not realistic in our environment. So that's our thinking with why we're giving you this coaching, so that you keep on just coming back to, like, you have a place where have a place to bounce things off. You have an ear that listens to you, that helps you make the learning realistic, despite whatever's going on, despite whatever challenges are coming up in your internal environment. Again, the accountability is key, and be open to being helped. Be open to being receiving it from the place that we're giving it to you at. Because if you're going to close the door, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. If you're open that, let's see how we're going to make this work, then it's going to work. And Kathy and I have countless experience to seeing this time and time again. Those that want to be helped. Each of you, if you remember the first day, and I'm doing this for long enough to see it, the first day I always have an overload. Everybody that signs up for the program comes in. And then they realize, there's a lot of work that we have to do here. What happens second day? A lot of people drop. But you all have been coming consistently, so obviously you're open to the learning. So what we tell you to do is continue to be open to working with us through the coaching, because we came up with this as a solution that has impact and takes home the learning at a very high level. So I'll give you back the mic.
Yeah, and I would say, in terms of the accountability too, what's important to know, because sometimes we think of that word as almost like punishment, like, well, you better be accountable, and so if you come back the next time and you didn't do it, somebody's going to yell at you. No, in coaching, we actually, accountability is great, because if you come back and you say, I didn't get that done, fabulous. Then let's look at why. Because there's a reason why you didn't, and so that's blocking you. Let's look at that. Now, obviously, we're not going to be coaching, ideally the best thing is if you can coach just one-on-one. But we're also, the advantage of working in a group is that one or two people in the course of that hour may be coached, but usually they will represent issues that everyone's having. So whenever I've been a participant in a group coaching, I always get something, even though I might not have gotten particularly coached, I've always gotten something from one of the people who's coached. So confidentiality is important in a group setting. We can't guarantee it. I mean, that's the way groups are. We ask that everything, just as we've asked here, that everything be confidential, but obviously we cannot guarantee it. Individually we can, unless you're going to hurt yourself or someone else. Belief, I said it before, I think in reference to something that Joyce was saying, but there are no mistakes. In coaching, we believe that. So, in other words, there are only opportunities to learn. It's not like you do something wrong. We look at that and we say, well, let's look at it. Let's figure out why it didn't work right. Okay? But a mistake has a real negative thing around it. We don't believe in mistakes. And again, it's very strength-focused. Like, we're asking constantly, what's working? Let's look at that. Let's focus in on that. Let's see how we can expand on that. Not what isn't working. If anybody needs fixing. That's not the medical model. That's the therapeutic model.
Kathy, if I could just add on that point. anyone that knows me always repeats, oh, I always say this in your name. It's something I created, but it's something I'm inspired by in life, and I always repeat this line. People and things are in our life for a reason. People and things are in your life for a reason. A mistake happened because there was a learning in it. So if we beat ourselves up, well, that's easy too. But if we say, this didn't work this way, what is my learning in it? What was I meant to take away from it? Then that was the reason why it happened. So when we say that there are no mistakes, if it happened for a reason. Until we're going to learn the message of it, it's going to consistently happen again and again and again and again. So I'll just, did we have a minute for me to share? Sure. I have, years ago, before I became a coach, I had this guy that used to come to my house every weekend. I'm Orthodox, I'm Jewish, and we keep the the Sabbath, and we don't touch electricity and what have you. And he was becoming Orthodox himself, and his parents weren't, so he would come to spend the Shabbos with me, with my family. And one morning over breakfast, Shabbos morning over breakfast, he tells me, Chai, I learned something that that when I decided I wanted to become religious, so I in my head decided I wanted to do this, and all of a sudden I found that God was sending me like opportunities to be able to raise the bar for myself. He goes, and every time it was a test. Usually it was an opportunity, but it also came as a test. So he goes, if I passed the test, great, I raised the bar, was on to the next level. If I didn't, God says, okay, you're not being punished. You'll just get another test until you get on to the next level. So I listened to him and I said, this is all about, there's a small purple book that's called there's a hole in my sidewalk, The Romance of Self-Discovery. Has anybody seen that?
When I walk this
Yes, exactly that. So his story is about becoming religious, is the story of our lives. The romance of self-discovery. I walk down this road and the street, and there's a hole in the sidewalk, and I fall in. I think it's a mistake. So I come out and I clean myself up and I continue on my way. The next week I'm walking down the same street, and what happens? I fall again. And I say to myself, oh, I can't believe it. I know that there's a hole on this sidewalk, but I happen to have fallen again. I get up, I clean myself up, and I continue on my way. The next week I'm walking down the street, but I realize, on this street there's a hole. So I become nervous the whole time, and as I get to it, I say, oh, here's the hole, so I walk around it, and I continue on my way. The next, every time I go down that block, I remember, so sometimes I fall, sometimes I don't. Till one day I say to myself, why do I have to walk down this street? I'll walk on the parallel street. So I walk down the parallel street, and as I walk down the block, I keep on remembering that, oh, over there, that's where I fell, and I can't believe I did it then, and I continue to beat myself up. Till one day I say to myself, why do I have to even walk down that avenue? Let me go a different direction to get to the same destination and have just no memory of it. It's such a beautiful story that started off when this guy told me this. It's all of us have our own experiences in life. It's just about raising the bar. So we're going to have an experience with a staff person that continues, always threatens us or triggers us, or a funder. But then by us looking into what is the message for us, then that's the romance of self-discovery. And every time I think of mistakes, that's what I think about. It's all about people come into our life to teach us a message, and when we got that message, we could walk a different street. So I hope that was
I love that.
Oh, there's a hole in my sidewalk.
Okay, wait, there's a hole in my sidewalk?
Yes.
That's what I thought it says The Romance of Self-Discovery.
That's what it is. There's a hole in my sidewalk, and then the tagline is The Romance of Self-Discovery.
I like that. I haven't heard of it.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Wait a minute. All right. So, hold on. Let's get we just got to put that. All right. So, Dennis, could we go to the next one, please? So going forward, these are the dates that we've set aside. You'll be getting an email too, but if you want to jot those down now. So again, it's the second Wednesday of May, July, September, and November. So there, as Haya said, it will be sure. So it'll be May 8th, July 10th, September 11th, November 13th. And it'll be 9:30 to 10:30 because we wanted to keep it consistent with the calls that we've had. And we'll give you all that information of, you know, what number to call and all that kind of good stuff. Okay?
I have not had a good phone call yet.
What do you mean?
I never heard.
Okay. So in the past we were using GoToMeeting, and when you join GoToMeeting, Dennis, this becomes relevant to you. Joyce just never had a good experience with GoToMeeting because when you join GoToMeeting, all participants go into mute mode, and she gets very not happy about not being able to be heard because you are on mute. So I try to unmute you. Some people aren't able to be unmuted for technology probably reasons. Right, today we are using Fuse Me. I like with Fuse because we don't have what we had the challenges with GoToMeeting. So we are most likely going to be using this technology.
Or we could just use a Bridgeline, too.
Or just use a Bridgeline, right, because it won't be any visual. We'll be using different technology. We might be using freeconferencecall.com where everybody can hear each other.
Easy.
Yes?
You don't see what's on the screen.
No, we don't have to see anything. We don't use the screen.
September 11th date is really a bad date.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. That's what I.
Absolutely. We're looking at the second Wednesday of every month, and it happened to have been there September 11th. Thank you. We'll move that.
Right.
We'll move that. Thank you. Either we'll make it the first Wednesday of September, but then that becomes hard because of Labor Day. So I have to check also with the Jewish calendar. We'll update it and let you know.
Okay. Okay, and again, you'll get, you know, we'll send stuff out confirming this, and particularly when we change that date. So, okay, move forward, please, Dennis.
Okay.
Oh, whoops.
Before we go into party time, I have one more thing to add.
The food is on the way, so it's not party time yet. And DYCD is coming in as well, and your certificates are coming, so we have a little time.
They're coming at 12, so go ahead, Dennis. Okay. I forgot that was next.
Okay, I just want to do a pitch for our LinkedIn group site. We're not getting as much use of it as I think we could. So I'll just go ahead and show this. When you sign into LinkedIn, it's really pretty simple. All that you do is you go, did you see that screen?
Yes.
Great. You just go into the group site, and you can go to the group directory if you're not already in it. And for the group directory, just put in rebooting your organization. And here's the site, and you just go ahead and go in it. And so this is what the rebooting your organization site is. And as you can see, there's a lot of articles and information that's already posted. And you can feel free that, you know, once you join the site to post any article run across it you might think would be of interest. But this is also a good site that if you have questions or if you want some feedback from other members of the group, just go ahead and ask it. So all that you do is you just put in like, how are you using social media, and just go ahead and post it. And then that starts a discussion, so as people respond to the discussion, since you're following it, you'll be alerted every time there's a response to it, so you'll know that you want to check in and see how people are responding. So I'm just encouraging you, there's some good information on the site. We're going to keep it open. We'll keep adding additional tools and techniques and things like that. And so if you haven't logged into the site and joined the site, please do so if you'd like. And feel free to use it to ask any questions you have or share any information that you might have. So
there's a question. Yeah, Betsy.
I joined. I was very proud of myself. I finally joined.
Excellent.
But I don't
yes, you did.
Yes, I did. But I looked at that site. I joined the group. But where do I get these alerts?
Okay.
I didn't get anything in the email. I get emails when people want to join, want me to, accept them. But that's
Yeah, Dennis, show us what needs to happen to be able to get the alerts. There's a thing you check off to get alerts.
Oh. You probably didn't hear me.
Dennis, did you hear the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Get alerts. Okay, and I believe it would be, let's see. When you get into a discussion, generally if you click on discussion, there's the thing saying if you want to follow the discussion. So like right here, it says for me, if I want to unfollow it, I click there. So once you get into a discussion, it'll say like down below, like follow this. So if I'm interested in following anything that has to do with this day 2 of Reeboot, I just go and I click follow.
Oh, okay. Does that help? I guess you'll have to go home and try it, right?
Yeah, I have to. I can't even see what.
Yeah. So when you go into the site, when you look at the heading, as soon as you click on the heading, you'll see down below, do you like it? Do you want to add a comment? This will say follow or unfollow, and then it gives you more options here. Like you can share the link with other people. The flags are, if you think someone's misusing it, you just flag it, which isn't really something we'd be doing. So you just go ahead and click follow here, then you'll get the alerts anytime for that specific post.
Ask her. Okay. Thank you, Dennis. Okay, so with the last moments we have here till the party begins, I want to do a coaching demo with somebody. So I'd like a volunteer. I was sort of looking at some of the folks who hadn't spoken too much. I don't know if you're comfortable. Maybe, I don't know, I was looking, I know you haven't said too much, so there are Patsy. But I'm going to kind of, if you're comfortable, I'll coach. Now, you have to have an issue that you want to be coached around, because remember, the agenda's up to you. So it's got to be an issue that, you know, that you're perhaps struggling with, or it could be anything from time management. It could even be something in your personal life if you want to do that, if you're willing to share, but you don't have to do that. But you know, I never know what people want. So who would like to volunteer? You don't really have to, okay, come on down. You have to be able to speak loud though so they can hear.
I can speak loud.
Yay, okay. And you're Odette.
I'm Odette.
Okay.
Hi.
All right, so Odette, how can I help you? You know, and it's always scary to do it in front of the group, so hopefully I'll...
I would like to talk about a staff member who's running one of our big programs, who is about 6 months into her position, and isn't a great culture fit.
Ah, okay. So first of all, tell me, we only have a short time together, so tell me what you would like to get out of this.
I would like to figure out if she's worth keeping or if we need to get rid of her and how to go about that.
Okay, so you kind of want to, you know, talk about maybe what's going on and then try to come to a decision, which we may not have time to do in this short time frame, but that's what you would ultimately like. Okay, so tell me what you mean when you say she's not a good culture fit.
So our mission is to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Okay.
And a lot of what we do is really creating a different space for girls and women and staff members, and to be able to be in a positive, supportive, inviting, warm place.
Right.
And that's just, and to be able to handle difficult situations and figure all that out, to support the girls and the staff, and her demeanor and her presence doesn't fit that.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about when you say it doesn't fit that. What is it that you're seeing that causes you to say that?
So, she's negative, she's not warm, she doesn't take ownership or have a lot of, I don't know, her nature is not to try to work it out and figure it out. It's a little more destructive-ish, or just
That's got to be tough when you're, you know, particularly here you are in a culture where your whole mission is to bring up people, bring up girls, and you've got somebody who's sort of modeling something exactly the opposite. So it makes sense that you're wanting to figure out what to do with this person. So one of the questions I want to ask you is, what's your gut telling you right now about this person?
My gut tells me to get rid of her.
Okay, I kind of felt that. I
So
felt
I guess
that coming
that's not
from
what
you.
I want you to coach me on. I want you to
Okay.
coach me on how to get rid of her.
Okay.
Or what.
Okay, so it sounds like you've kind of made the decision. It's about, okay, now that it feels that, you know, I know what I want to do, what do I do next and how do I go about it?
Exactly.
So tell me what it is that you're struggling with around this.
I mean, she's meeting the deliverables, right? The numbers, the program is running pretty well. I mean, there's nothing that I can pinpoint to say you are not doing your job.
So external things, like measurable things.
Correct.
She's there, but I'm hearing this is more internal stuff.
Yes.
Okay, and so what, okay, so then let me ask you this. What's kind of the belief behind because what I'm hearing when you say, well, she's doing her job, so her deliverables anyway, so we can't really fire her. So what I'm wondering is, it sounds like you must have some sort of a belief around you can only fire people if they don't meet their measurable results.
I mean, I don't want to get into any legal issues, right? Like,
Sure.
I want to have a leg to stand
Absolutely.
on to be able to get rid of somebody.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So tell me about a time in the past when you have had to let somebody go and you've done it in a way that really worked.
That worked, or that had a good reason behind it?
That the outcome of it was something that you felt pretty comfortable with.
Yeah. So, like, if a facilitator is in keeping a safe space, you know, and the girls are not.
Okay.
That's very clear that.
Okay. So,
shouldn't be there.
how did you go about it?
Well, she was written
Thank
up
you.
and then she was let go.
Okay. So, how much were you involved in that?
Well, this person is her supervisor, so.
Which
I was two above.
They'll be. Oh, okay. So the person. I'm sorry.
The person I'm talking about is the supervisor of the person that I let go.
Oh, okay, okay. So you're.
Oh, no, the
Paid.
person that I'm talking about?
That she wants to get rid of his pay.
Full-time paid. Oh,
Full-time
yeah,
paid.
a staff member.
And somebody interviewed her, and she didn't have great skills.
She did have great social skills in the interview.
Yeah, that's right.
With the whole nice image.
That's what I was actually going to ask. Yeah. Right. So hold on. So that speaks to right, right. That speaks to the issue of well, you know what? I was going to ask you what processes you have in place for sort of you know, vetting as kind of you. Well, no, they're not there. As other people have, you know, talked about in terms of making sure that people have the high emotional intelligence and so forth. So, but the point is she's there. So it's more about what do we do next. So in your mind, what do you think would be the next step for you?
I mean, I've had conversations with her about, is this a good fit for her? Is this where she wants to be professionally? Does she have it in her to have this positive, supportive presence under all the stress?
Right.
To be able to support people. And she told me that she had to think about it. So.
What does that tell you?
Yeah, it tells me that clearly if you're not just telling me straight up,
Right.
I'm going to do this, then
Right.
you need to consider whether you want to do this job.
Okay, so where are you in that process? Waiting for her answer?
Thinking.
Okay, so what do you want to do next then about it?
I like where you're going. To give her a deadline.
Okay.
Okay, so I need you to make a decision now.
Okay. Okay, so let's imagine that she comes back to you and she says, oh yes, I think I can do it. What would be your response?
I don't believe it, but what would be my response? I guess I can tell her, well, show me for a month. You know,
Okay, so have like a trial kind of thing almost.
Yeah,
Well, she's,
the
I mean,
probation period's already over.
okay.
I guess. I didn't even think that she would come back and say, yeah, I can do it.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know. I mean, obviously, like you said, your gut's saying the fact that she had to think about it is saying something. Let me ask you something, though. When have you ever had a situation with someone, and it may not even be in this job, but it could have been another job, it could have been a family member, anybody, but where you've been in a situation where someone wasn't living up to expectations for whatever reason, okay? What have you done? You have options. You can get rid of them. Well, remember you can't, but you could, get rid of them or not, or you can work with them to, what have you done in a situation like that? What options have you chosen?
For me, my first thing is always to let them know.
Okay.
Where I fall short is in the follow through.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I don't usually have a problem telling somebody like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, or
okay. So when you say your problem's in the follow through, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's like setting up systems for them to be successful and then holding them accountable.
Okay.
To that, and then that is
okay. So what gets in your way of doing that?
Good question, Coach. What gets in my way? I think naturally not being able to come up with systems. Like I think that's difficult for me to lay things out and taking the time to do that, and then taking the time to keep track and actually follow up with them and hold them to that.
Okay, so I have a question. So why do you feel you have to be the one that puts the systems in place?
Because it's my job.
Okay, but I'm wondering.
Having it come from the person.
Okay, what's your thinking on that?
Not a bad idea.
I mean, because what you're saying is it could come from you, it could come from them. What other options might there be?
That's about it.
Could come from the two of you together,
yeah.
too. Okay, so when you think about that, what does that feel like?
I feel like if we're at this point where you're already not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that I am supposed to come and tell you, now this is what you need to do.
Okay.
Because you've had your chance to pull through and be successful, and clearly that's not what's happened. So. Okay,
so let me ask you a question. If I was to go to her and say, I'm really curious as to why what's holding you back from being able to fulfill these expectations, what do you think she would say?
The support, her team doesn't support her, that people don't believe in her, that she needs support from me, everybody, like.
Okay, right. So how true or how much of that do you feel is true?
Somewhat, but not enough.
Which part is true?
I think her team definitely doesn't support her because of her delivery. I mean,
okay.
That's very true.
Okay.
There's a lot of truth in that. I think the support she wants from me is unreasonable.
Okay.
And
okay. Yeah. So can I share just a hint that I'm getting around this? Is that my sense is that you've thought of the possibility of sort of working with her, but my gut's telling me that you're just at the place I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then it's a question of, so what I'm hearing is that you're really feeling there's no salvation here, okay? So my next step is, because you talked about, well, I could give her a deadline to tell me that. What honestly do you want to do next?
I'd like for her to be done with her job at the end of July.
Okay. You sound pretty clear on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you going to do to articulate
That's why I'm here. What am I going to do?
Yeah, in other words, you're clear in your brain. The end of July is as long as I feel, this person should be with us. So how are you going to articulate that?
How am I going to make that happen?
Yeah, like what do? You go tell her? How do you, what's next?
I need to do her performance review.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, I need to tell her, but that's what I don't know you know what I mean? I don't know how to do that. Like, can I tell somebody you have till the end of July?
Well, you said before that one of the things you're good at, that you said you're not good at follow through, but you're good at telling somebody that they're not doing their job.
Can I tell somebody that? Like, at the end of July, you're done?
I don't know. Why couldn't you? If that's what you're... I mean, that's what I'm asking you.
She's
What?
like a full-time employee and the legal ramifications of all of that. And I mean, we are an hourly employer, but.
Okay, so then how can you find out? Because it sounds like what you're concerned about. Is there a way that I need to go about doing this that protects the agency and all of that? What do you need to do to find out if that is something you can do?
I guess I have to call Sherman.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, I just, hold on. Oh, go ahead. I can see you're so anxious.
Well, I'm thinking in my head, because we've gone through similar kinds of issues. Do you have a structural problem in your agency? Because if you bring in somebody new, is that team still not going to support them? And are you going to be able to, I mean, because
okay, so those would be some good.
Somebody's only in the job for 6 months. The general
Learning
is with us on the learning
curve is.
No, I agree with that. I don't, and I'm.
But that's why I asked her coming from her gut. That's why I asked her coming from her gut, because sometimes, and actually maybe a better way to have said that was, you know, what's your gut telling you, and then looking at that, is this because you really know that she's not going to be able to come up to the standard that she needs to?
She doesn't have, no, she does not have the ability to fit our culture.
Okay, and that's clear to you. Okay, so that's where you have to, in a coaching situation, that has to be, because she's pretty clear on that. So then it becomes, what's the procedure here? And that's, okay, so we're at the point of saying, well, I'm not sure what the technical procedures are for doing this, so my next step is to find out.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you, when would you like to be able to have this information in hand?
As soon as possible.
Okay, so like, when would you set a date for yourself?
Like the beginning of May.
Okay, so like the beginning of May, you want to have what? What is it exactly that you want to have?
I want to know if I have a leg to stand on.
Okay.
Like how I can go about this. What either I need to be documenting or not.
Okay.
Or what it is. What do I have to have in place to be able to make this happen?
Okay, so you need that specific information, and you're going to go where to get it?
From her and Sherm.
Oh, okay.
I think the issue here is that it's not, I think cultural is one thing, but the issue is that aside from cultural, like there are certain things and you have to be able to be a problem solver in this particular role. And the glaring issue here is that this particular person is not a problem solver, she's a gamer. So then come back to, I guess the confusion is like legally, do we have any issues with just saying because of these specifics, we think you're not performing well, but the deliverables say yes, the girls are coming, the numbers are there, reporting is okay. So we're wondering legally, is it okay?
And that's what she's going to be finding out. Because this is what it's coming down to is, okay, I know this is the decision we're going to make. I know that this is the time by which I want to do it. My next step is gathering the information to make sure I'm doing this properly. Okay, you're going to get that information by May 1st. Okay, how realistic is that for you?
It's not terribly unrealistic.
Okay, what could get in your way?
A major special event we're planning.
Okay. So what can you do? What can you do to ensure that that special event does not get in the way?
Well, I have to do this. I mean, the bottom line is
okay.
I have to prioritize it. So.
Okay. Because it sounds like it's very important, and it sounds like there's going to be a cost to you if you don't.
Yeah.
Okay. And there will be certainly a benefit to you if you do go about this in all the right ways. Okay. So good. So how did you feel about the coaching?
It was helpful.
Okay.
It was helpful. Yeah, I think that, I just, it's easy to get stuck in your head of what the issue is and to not lay out a plan.
Sure. Right. So see, I didn't give her any answers or suggestions or advice. I just asked her questions. And they were all open-ended questions. So she didn't, no question she could answer yes or no to. It was because I know you have the answers. My job is to help you access those answers. So so let's give her a round of applause. So thank you very much, okay. We're all going to check back on her May 2nd to see if she did it. Yes.
Some of this stuff, And I hope this comes out correct, in the right kind of way.
All women.
Because if you're thinking about doing group coaching, this is the kind of stuff that I think that we might be able to help each other with. Some of it has to do with structural issues, or whether or not she actually did something specifically. You have the documentation, you let the process run its course. But then there's some other stuff that comes up with respect to the more I get to know you, the more likely it is you're able to discern some things about me as a person that could easily detect that you have a problem with a situation.
They're not here yet.
You're uncomfortable with.
They're not here yet.
And unless we are able to hold ourselves accountable for issues
Excellent. You know what?
that
Actually,
make
hold
us
on to when they come. You'll put it on.
we may go on in a relationship.
Absolutely.
Reflecting and trying to refine, for lack of a better way, describing it, blame in another situation that until we get a handle on that, that will always be a recurring
Yes.
in our
And that's where it gets to some of those inner things. Like you're saying, like if you're uncomfortable with telling someone they're not doing their job, and it's about, you're not a problem solver, and it's about all these unmeasurable kinds of things, we tend to find that very difficult and uncomfortable and intimidating. So that's where coaching can help look at, well, what is it you're telling yourself about this?
Yeah, I was saying maybe, and I was thinking about reframing it. So many times,
Good one.
What happens is that when we look at terminating someone, we're like, that's the worst thing we can do. Sometimes it's a favor. Sometimes someone says, please terminate me now.
Right.
Get unemployment. And
Exactly.
out of here.
Also, the fact that she's still thinking about whether she's a good fit is a clue to me, too.
Yeah.
There's
Wait.
consequences
Hold on,
of
one at a time.
terminating and having people go on unemployment too.
Well, there may
We would explore that in the coaching about what does she have to think about. This was a very laser short.
All right, just a generic.
Moving forward into the next phase.
Yes.
Of coaching. Are you going to, prior to the first session, possibly send us a list of topics that we all vote on so that we can see what the priority is across the board? What may be a very important issue to one organization just isn't to everybody
Absolutely.
else. So I think it's going to be important for us to have a framework.
Yep.
Yes.
And
we're going to do that with a space for you to add other. So, yeah.
And then we, maybe prioritize 1, 2, and 3, our top 3 choices so that we then can select over the next.
Yes, and there may be themes that show up, and many organizations that have similar
so
things.
So that's going to go out to us prior to the May.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Peter?
We just recently had an incident where we had to kind of let go of a young lady who was a perfect person, and she was great, but she did not produce in the area that we needed to produce. So our difficulty was that we have built a relationship of business with her.
Yeah.
And yet, we have to make a determination. The determination wasn't because of the personalized, it was because of the organization and what we needed.
Right.
So then, therefore, we have to make a choice. One of the things that I speak to myself, might have a lot is that in most cases, we cannot get this friendship thing with our employees. Sometimes it gets too personalized. And
It's hard not to have that happen.
Disengage because of the fact that something is wrong. This is not about culture. This is not about this.
Oh, they're here from DYCD.
It's about
The food is not here yet.
and why do I need to? What is the productivity that you have?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. And those are the kinds of things that are really difficult, because those are the things that we're talking about that are relationships and emotional stuff and people stuff. That's where we get stuck for most of us. So that's a good point. Susan, and then we got to finish up.
I know what really helped is because I come from the Board of Ed and we had like union groups. So pretty much I was able to pull from that and give the staff their rule book. And I constantly give assessments. And I always have, I have my lead teachers have weekly meetings. And I'm always asking my teachers if there's any areas that you feel that you're lacking in, you know, speak up, because I feel that we should be able to support as well. I feel the job we should be able to encourage, not just, you know, put them out because they're not producing. And then after documentation, after demonstrating that I have supported you and you're not producing, then you get the boot. But at least I have it on paper that I supported you, that you have had these meetings.
And still nothing. So, and that may be what Odette finds out, is that she's got to document more, or, you know, something along those lines, so that she has something to show.
I'd like to say quickly one thing before you shut off.
Okay.
This lady that's going, who's considering firing this young lady.
Odette.
In this economy, the thing is that I think what I did with one employee that he had a problem with, a personality problem, but he was excellent in terms of the job.
Because I'm seeing more people in the room.
I asked him to write me a letter.
We'll have to make sure maybe. Yeah, this should have been the most updated one. Yeah, no problem. No problem. That was my same one that I had here.
What does he think about the job? How would the employees, when they treat him, you know, everything, just write me a letter, why I should keep you. What reason?
You're right. Oh, I know why. Because I'm going to come to all of them.
About why I wanted him to go. So now he and I are going to have a discussion after he reads this letter. This letter he wrote. He saw a lot of different things that he hadn't seen before. He had never seen anything in writing. You know how you see something in writing and everything a light comes on? And when I wrote my letter, I saw a lot of things that I overlooked in terms of giving him instructions, my expectations. You might want to do that. I would you absolutely can't stand this woman, that you try every avenue possible. I don't know if this lady has a family. I don't know if her mom is in the hospital or her father and she's somewhere else. But try to give her every opportunity you can until, you know, and that one of the opportunities is this exchange. Privately, not the whole company knows about it, and they've got their feedback, privately and professionally. And you might get a totally different result.
I like the letter thing. That's cool.
Okay, yes.
One question about the folks. So suppose I just want advice that is, you know, because what I want to use this training for is to do our strategic planning. And so I would like advice.
Okay, one of the things we're good, when you have a group coaching, okay, we'll as Betsy was saying, you know, we'll have the agendas and ideas from you guys, things that you want to focus on and see if there's themes, blah blah blah. When we in a group setting, if let's say, well, one of the topics we're going to look at based on what you guys have said, and so we'll start coaching perhaps with someone around that. Then after we've coached, we can open it up to the group to say, okay, what are some thoughts based on what you've just heard from this person? So that we're not going to necessarily give advice. I mean, we might, I don't know, but generally coaches don't do that. That's a consultant. But yet you have this rich environment of people who've had all kinds of experiences that maybe you haven't, or you've had some that other people haven't. And so that there will be an environment from which you can get all kinds of...
But if I'm doing what, like, I need advice in implementing what you showed me for me to show to the board.
Okay, excellent question, actually, because that's what happens. So we came to the completion of the 4 in-person days. You all we did a lot of work inside, and you are left with these worksheets, and then you say, okay, but it's what we've been speaking about a whole time, that things evolve, and you're going to work on it, and you're up to a place of needing advice. That's where I would look at the LinkedIn group, because that's always going to be moderated by the 3 of us. Put out a question, and we'll be there to respond to you. That's where it goes on. Yes.
So I think someone suggested that we look at a survey to figure out the kinds of issues that we would want to look at.
Yeah,
because I do think that some of us are in different places.
Absolutely.
Some of us are certainly in different places. We were talking about something, the issue of coaching and advice. I'm not at that point in my professional development. I don't necessarily need you to give me advice per se. I need you, I would want your coaching. I would want us to put the information on the table for me to get to help. I need you to help me get to the place that I need to be without you telling me how to get there.
Absolutely. And we don't know exactly, when you're talking about that place, we don't know exactly what that place is. Because in our mind, yes. Yes, so we want to meet you where you're at. So we ask you questions to do that placement.
Milieu, so to speak.
We get it. We absolutely get it. So the important thing is that we will come up with a specific topic, and when, say, Odette came to the front, and she was bold, and thank you very much again for being so bold and coming in. She gave us a good flavor of a real challenge that she was facing. And hopefully by the time you sat down, you had clarity. You said such good points. We get busy. You have this upcoming event. You're going to get busy, and it's going to be like this thing that pounds on your head, causes you stress and anxiety because you have to get rid of her. You have to decide what you're doing with it, with the staff person. But by being able to come up with the challenge and being coached through it, you'll come up with a plan of what you're going to be doing as next steps. Any other questions before we going on to our celebration? Now, the celebration is a ticking. We have our growing audience, and thank you all very much. The food has not yet arrived, and it is on the way. So it's coming from Brooklyn. We have to just wait for it, but it should be here soon. Yeah, with that, sorry? So the food is what gives us, the energy in life, and thankfully the energy really came from the most rich people that we have included in this room. The celebration does have an agenda. So number one is I just want to give a tremendous thanks, and it's not in order of importance. There are very key people that made this series a reality. Number one, because Dennis is with us. Dennis, I want to just thank you. As we all know, Dennis, like I say always, he sits in Seattle. He sits far. He doesn't see us, yet he has been an intrinsic and such an important part of this core curriculum. My partner, Kathy, the three of us, I hope that we really have been able to give you everything, the hours, the effort, the energy that really came and made it possible. Jonathan Bissell has joined us. He's our representative from Medgar Evers College. Thank you for putting the CUNY stamp on this. I know we had to apply for it. I know it had to reach a certain standard of excellence, and that becomes a gift for all of you. So we're going to get into the certificate of completion. Now, the people standing in the corner, DYCD, you've met them before, but they will address us as part of the celebration. Thank you is a small word. The commissioner here at DYCD values education, values giving you the tools, and what takes us to the next level. Val Lopez has been, we do this again and again and again. His appreciation, his pump, is always looking at the positive of we're going to do this and we're going to do this at a high level, is what made this vision a reality. And then you're joined by your team that you're going to, of course, introduce when you speak. So number one is the thank you. It would be very small without having Steve with us at every single class to videotape and do this footage. What Steve has done is, and the job is not over. We began the process of meeting you where you're at, coming out to your agencies, getting a picture of what is going on at your agency, and then hearing from you how you've been impacted by going through this series. So we created footage that we are going to be presenting at this graduation, and we want you to be aware that it is the beginning. This is our first footage. It's the beginning, and it's not everything. It will be continue to grow. Val and DYCD are not on the video. So what I would like to do is ask that we first do the video and then have Val address, and then Jonathan be able to give out the certificates. But Steve, if I can ask you if you can put up the video for us. Steve went out, and in a short amount of time, I think that it's a huge, it was a surprise for me this morning. It's the first time I saw it, and I thought an absolutely magnificent job. So thank you so much. The computer is up here. Let's come. Where I was and through this learning of where I'm going. So again, thank you so much. It couldn't be said better than to visually see it. Thank you, Jonathan. Before we continue, I'd like to ask Val Lopez of the DYCD to come up and address all of us as an audience. Thank you, Joe Kovac. Thank you so much for all joining us.
Hi, as the gentlemen go up to the front of the room, can I just thank Steve publicly for coming out and spending
Absolutely.
But a lot of times it happens behind the camera that allows you to express yourself. And I think he did a wonderful job of probing and preparing us to get to that place.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The work you guys are doing is incredible. Really incredible. To see it firsthand is really special.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
And I really want to thank you all. It takes a lot for you guys to dedicate yourself to 4 days of training and ongoing emails from Haya and follow-up and working with the coaches. I know taking an hour or 5 minutes away from your agency is a great deal for each and every one of you. I just want to show you how dedicated our commissioner is to the success of all your programs. We have all our staff that support you. Without the commissioner's vision and allowing us to do things like this, we'll have many agencies on the outside looking in. So I think it's very fortunate that you guys took the time to do this. Our commissioner has supported every one of your agencies in success, providing nonprofit the tools and the coaching to get out to their communities. Our staff, if you see, look around you, I don't get out to programs at all. I got to deal with all the other issues, all the other nonsense. I don't get to go see the visions, and I don't go to see the young people working often. This Saturday, I happened to get out to one. I was out in Kips Bay, and I can tell you, this was at 8:30 on a Friday night. I'm a young guy. I don't want to work on a Friday night, 8:30. But I went out to Kips Bay because I have Luis Alacina, who just happened to walk in with the food, and you guys are going to have to come back. Luis Alacina went to see this group, and it was a young group. They were performance group. They were a talent group, and they've been doing this for over 25 years capacities. They do shows off Broadway. So he tells me, hey, you got to come and take a look. You got to go see this group. I went and saw them in training. They're awesome. You got to go take them a look. Take a look. Take a look. I walked in. No one knew who I was because I went, you know, jeans, shirt. Everyone, like, when they see me in a suit, they know who I am. But when I'm in jeans, they don't know who I am. So I go in. And I sit in the back, and I'm watching this performance. And everything that's coming back to me is growing up in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, thinking about how I struggled through, you know, the gangs and all the fights between all the different races. And I see all these kids, and then they're doing, it was better than Broadway. I can tell you that it was better because they're doing it from their hearts. And they're showing the positive that our nonprofits are doing in the community. And I don't get up to the Bronx. I really don't want to go up to the Bronx. No offense to anyone in the Bronx, but I'm all the way in the Rockaway now, and I don't want to go all the way. It takes me about 2.5 hours to get home. But I sat there, and we left there around 11:30 at night. And I just wanted to say congratulations to all the kids and make sure that they knew that we supported them and how important it was for us to see their success. And it's from the heart, you know, because I deal with the kids every day. I have my own children. I have my nieces and nephews that go to your programs. So it's very important for me for you to succeed. And I'm happy that you took the time to dedicate yourself to this. And I ask that when you see my staff, if there's anything that you may need or anything that we can support you in, I'll be more than happy to make sure that we can get it done. Sometimes we may have to say no, but most often we're saying yes. So it's very important. I hope that you all keep up the great work that you're doing out in the communities. And if there's anything that I can ever do for you, not only today and not only because you took part in this training, but anything that I can do for you or my staff can do going forward, we'll be more than happy to help. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you. Thank you. So as part of our, thank you very, very much to everyone here from DYCD, and thank you for offering it. We're going to take you up on it. So what we want to do as next steps is, the food came actually at the right time. We want you each to take a few minutes to think, and yes, you're going to break to eat for just a few minutes before the certificates are given out, and while DYCD is in the room. We want to go around the room, again, to say your name, which organization you're from, and succinctly specifically and generously sharing how you have been specifically and personally impacted by this that you've given. So we're going to give you the time by allowing you to go back and take something to snack on while you're celebrating. And before we go through the final round of giving out the certificate, give you your time on the mic to share something specific. I also do want to do placement. Jonathan came with your certificates. In order to receive the certificate today, you have to have been in 3 of the 4 classes. And that's who the certificates are here for it. If you haven't been in 3 of the 4 and you don't have your certificate today, it's not too late. We'll be in touch on how we're going to make up what you missed out on and what you have to do to complete. And then your certificate will be prepared and emailed to you as an attachment. Okay, so without further ado, thank you, Joe Kovac, very much for setting that up. We can just open it all up, and it's really for all of you to enjoy. Go back, enjoy, take something, and then we're going to go around. Okay? Everybody, go ahead and party, because it is party time.
Very intelligent and very receptive of us, and they were willing to answer any questions, any problems that we discussed. So I thought it was an excellent workshop, and I look forward to coming to more.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Patsy.
Hello, my name is Patsy Chen. I represent the Taiwan Center. I'm a board director, and we have youth program. We are very honored and sure to be invited to attend. And the Taiwan Center is serve the community, not just for Taiwanese American, but for Flushing local community. And our dance program for youth is very exciting. And somebody just after this program, I got an idea. So we're going to run something like a drama, Broadway, as the commissioner told you.
Fantastic.
That's a great idea.
Fantastic.
We have many film director who's retired. So, Andy is from Taiwan, that's we're very proud to say. So we're going to say run some, especially in New York. So that's the idea I got from attending this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Sheila Lin from Taiwan Center. I'm an administration manager there. And I love this program, and the one thing I love a lot, it's all the nonprofit organizations share their experience, their opinion in here. Mostly we're in the office a lot, and we don't have the opportunity because we are so busy working on our job, our duty. And it's just a great opportunity to meet other nonprofit organizations. And I was so glad, everyone has same problem. We don't have money, we don't know how to do.
That's excellent.
We don't know how to marketing. And it's just you building your confidence. I build my confidence here. I just feel, everyone have the same problem. I'm not the worst one. And we are everyone is so struggling, and it's just a great opportunity for me to learn lots of things, to think a different way, and to have the opportunity to know how the other nonprofit organizations doing. So it's very challenging for me, and it's very good for me as well. So thank you so much for the nonprofit desk. Yeah, and thanks for everyone to share the opinion. It's with Jackie. She's very, very helpful for every single detail, and Michelle. Every time they break the exactly right thing I was thinking. How can I supposed to do? And then they would give us very great opinion for that. Thank you for everyone.
Thanks a real lot. Okay, yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Brandy. I'm from Community Youth Care Services. In absence is my Executive Director, Cheryl Cattle. I'm the Program Manager. And what we got out of this class mainly was the marketing. We really took pieces from the marketing, the strategies, getting our name out there, and also reevaluating our mission statement, being very specific to the programs that we run, and also making it concise where our employees and our staff and volunteers can identify with what we do and make it very real to our staff and to our parents, and just to get our name out there. And for me as a junior person, just getting myself out there as well, being in a network of people, just gathering all types of information was really good for me. I know I didn't say a lot during the class, but it's really just me taking in everything, and I'm like really grateful that this information as a junior person is available even for me. And now I have a lot of information to grab from and elaborate on, even within the other people that are under me at my organization. So I'm really grateful for the class, and like what everyone mentioned, it's very, very detailed, it's very specific, and it doesn't leave you wondering like, what do I do with this? It's really there for us and us to fall back on and rely on it. So thank you very much.
That's fantastic. Yeah, Cheryl Cattle did let us know that she wasn't able to join us this time. Yeah, he's still on. It goes in quiet mode. Okay. Yes, Anita.
My name's Anita Mackey. I'm with Neighborhood Initiatives Development Corp. I serve as the Associate Director. I've had a lot of this in my past experiences, but it was good to rethink it because our agency is in a crossroads situation. A lot of changes have taken place, and it's one of my goals as I head for retirement to leave the agency ready to move forward and take its rightful place in the community where it's worked so hard for 30 years. So thank you very much for the opportunity and for helping me remember the basics.
Thank you, Anita. If you can share. Do you want to come to the mic? Thank you. Not today? Okay, yes. Thank you so much.
Even if you say one thing, even if you say one thing. It's
not today.
organization that helps youth in the arts with a mind on education. Not that it's not important, it's very important, because if they don't have the education right, they don't do the arts. But I have learned so much here. I've never been to a class like this, and I've learned so much, even as far as fundraising, marketing. I'm technologically challenged. I've just gotten an email 4 months ago, and I just gotten on Facebook a month ago, and got on linked up with my
LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. And she helped me. So I was like, it's not going in, it's not going in. So I'm learning. I'm coming to the millennium, slowly but surely, and yeah, still learning, still putting it into practice, not just hearing it and not doing. So whatever I'm learning here, we actually put it into practice. It actually is a great program, and I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, 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 hello. I am Susan Samuel from It Takes a Community to Raise a Child, New York's only 24-hour, 7 days a week, including holiday childcare after school learning center, and home of the Dreamcatchers Youth Business Program. Dreamcatchers, we just don't dream, we catch them. What have I learned? Wow. It's always good to come to a program where you get a refresher course. Sometimes you're going, like the mouse on the wheel, and you don't get a chance to stop and look around. And it was really great to come and just reflect on what I have been doing. Okay, I need to tweak this or that, or even for my board member to even come and to get involved, because I'm always the face of ITAC, always the one out in the forefront. And I thank you two so much, because it's really, let's give him my hand. But this is really and I know Dennis isn't there anymore, but Dennis,
he's right there.
He's there. We can't leave that.
Thank you, Dennis. You know, just matter of fact, true story. I'm on LinkedIn and I get a message, a friend request, and I look and I realize talking about the Reeboot organization. Wait a minute. And I see it's Dennis. I'm like, Dennis, this is Susan. I'm a part of this. So I do check my LinkedIn, MySpace, Twitter, Facebook. I'm social media. I'm a gadgets person. My Droid. I'm a Samsung. Okay, my tablet, my phone, everything. So I just want to thank you, and I look forward. And DYCD, my funding has been filtered through you guys. Thank you for the transportation. You know, I love it, and I will continue to be in contact.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Great, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bernice Brown, and I'm the chair for It Takes a Community to Raise a Child. I want to thank everyone, both coaches and Dennis, and also the other members of the group that are here today. Thank you very much for your friendship and also for your articulation. I have learned a lot from each and every one of you. I would like to say that what I have gained from this experience, it's two things: the elevated speech and promoting the organization. And also, not only has it helped me for the ITAC community program, it has also helped me in my ministry. And that truly is a blessing. Thank you all, and may God bless all of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, my name is Rodney Pride, and I'm the Executive Director for the United Black Men of Queens. The work that I do on a day-to-day basis is promoting mentoring core programs for boys of color at the elementary, middle school, high school, and at the collegiate level. I'd like to thank the not-for-profit help desk for just offering me insight in terms of how to better develop the program. Certainly some of the takeaways in the areas that I know I could get stronger in is the social mediums, how to better use them and how to better leverage my own respective boards. Some of the fond memories that I'll take away from the training is certainly the opportunity to network with many of you that are in the room and to go forward with the ongoing respective coaching that's being planned for. So I want to thank Haya and Kathy and the fleshless Dennis. Again, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rodney. Okay, we're going to jump.
Hello, I'm Christina Benavidez. I'm the Director of Operations at Girls Inc. of New York City. We inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold through our life-changing programs around economic literacy, media literacy, health and sexuality, math, science, and technology, and many other programs. It's definitely been a pleasure for me to be here, and one of the things I'll take away from this, or one of the things I'm thankful for, is how comprehensive the program was. Going from assessment to assessing where you are, assessing your competitors, and then talking about marketing and implementation was really helpful to me, because I have had a lot of thoughts that have just kind of been simmering around, you know, and as everybody said, it's hard to just take some time to think about all of these things. So it was very helpful for me to be a part of a workshop series that really did touch on everything, and then also provided a lot of great tools and resources. So that's what I'll take away from this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Nemes from Girls Inc. in New York City. Christina already said what we do. So for me, a couple things, the really specific tools like the SWOT analysis was really helpful to be able to take a step back and look at the big picture. And we just don't have the time every day to be able to do these things like everybody said. And then also the coaching was helpful. So thank you everybody for your feedback. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yes.
afternoon. I am Claudia Elizabeth from Morrisania Revitalization Corporation in Bronx. We are an affordable housing company, but we also believe in community outreach and community stabilization. That's part of our mission. So coming here, I didn't really know what to expect. Reeboot, okay, well, I'll see what it's about. But what I learned here is tremendous. It's been a blessing to the organization because as a part of what we do, we give. We have a Tain Lab, which is free. We have food pantry, we have trade, all sorts of things we do, everything is free. But in this economy, it's been straining us. So one of the things we learned here, I learned here, and I took back to the board, was looking at a fee-for-service portion of the company that would help us to sustain ourselves. Peter was very instrumental in giving me that idea. So while we have great coaches, they have been great coaches, good selection, good choice. We also have some great organizations here. We have great ideas to share with one another, and that's what I took out of it. The whole combination of everything. The coaches, you did a good job in bringing that out in us and out to each other. And the whole, what do you say, family that we formed here, even though we don't think of ourselves as a family, but the nonprofit family, this section, great. I intend to keep in touch. I intend to get on LinkedIn. I have not done it. I will do it now because I've learned so much. I want to continue learning more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Peter. There we go. Hello.
How you guys doing? I want to thank Prophet for inviting the South Bronx citizens. My name is Peter Serrano. I am a founder and executive director for the South Bronx Citizens. You met my daughter, which is the deputy director of the organization. We have a small but very interesting group of people working from the South Bronx Concerned Citizens. 90% of them are interns from colleges, high schools, and or community service workers. One of the things that we have done is that we don't ask for money for staffing, we ask for money to keep a roof over our heads. The rest is up to us. We need to give the service in order for us to be able to sustain ourselves. It's an interesting concept that I started way from the beginning. It took a long time for it to really gel together, and now it's really building up. We have anger management, domestic violence for male perpetrators, we do parenting, we do right now I'm organizing a young fathers group, start to have discussions monthly to be able to see what we can do about educating them about the responsibilities, accountability of being a father. And also we have the Fathers First program, which in general is trying to bring other fathers together and form type of a organization that will help us to also communicate with the children and or the spouses or ex-spouses of the clients. So I appreciate being here because it really helped us. We rebuild our mission statement. We're looking at closely at the board of directors, and our communication with the staff as far as moderation is concerned. We have came together and we went through a lot of troubleshooting while we started to learn a lot of stuff over here, and find that we can get more done because we jumping on things on time and we're not letting things prolong. So I appreciate being here, really, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, Michelle.
My name is Michelle Laguerre, and I am a board member at the Brooklyn Pride Community Pride Center. We are the we are an LGBT center in Brooklyn, dedicated in providing services to young folks as well as older adults, keeping the community connected and keeping us as a place for if people need services in Brooklyn. So I've gotten so much out of this program that I just don't know where to begin. One of the things that I think has been key is the way the program is set up, where the classes is geared from the inside out. We start from looking at our mission, at our vision, at our purpose. What is it that we want, each of us as individual organizations? And from where we are and what do we want, using that become our GPS system to guiding us where it is that we want to go. How are we going to get there? What's the best way to do that? How we market ourselves? How do we get people on board with our mission, with our purpose? How is it that we keep our staff motivated? And how do we network with one another? So along with Kaya, with Kathy and Dennis, I think that my colleagues in this room were phenomenal. There wasn't any ego here. And that sometimes is so wonderful, to be in a place where you could learn and not worry about, someone's ego, or not worry that how you're going to look in front of other people. And I think the fact that we were able to feel so safe has to do with you guys as facilitators. So I thank you very much, and I know that I will be keeping in touch with many of my colleagues in this room. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Michelle?
Hi everybody, my name is Marsha Kresge, and I have a title, but titles are meaningless in the nonprofit world. The program coordinator of the Biko Transformation Center is named after Stephen Biko, and is a young corporation. We all want to make it through those first 5 years like venture capitals, so we can get the mixed money. But after 6 years, we had they're selling the building. So now we're floating around, meeting in people's houses and looking for a church basement, anywhere where I can have our partner programs also meet, and our own programs. I think we're focused on bringing a diverse community together through the arts. Like Rhonda said, we have arts training for youth and adults. And many of the auditor and many of the seniors said, like, can I have piano lessons too? Then this kind of family feeling we try to create in our center. This program has been amazing. When we were just getting word of the transition, I got the email that Nonprofit Help Desk was having this organizational reboot, and I was like, yeah, maybe I need that. To keep the faith going through transitions and learn how to communicate better between the board and the volunteers, and myself the volunteer also. What I got out of this was tremendous, just to see all the different phases from the business world and how really tangible it is for our nonprofits to use business skills. It's not just a theory in the literature, but it's really working, and it was great working with all of you and brainstorming. So I'm looking forward to the coaching sessions. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Marsha. Joyce.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joyce Ravitz. I'm the chairperson of the Cooper Square Committee. We're a housing group that's been around for about 54 years. We don't just help people with their housing, but we help people with what they need. One of the things my organization is terrific with is starting other organizations when it's needed, which is sort of a unique thing, I believe. But I'm really glad. I want to thank everyone in this room who has helped make this a really great experience. I want to thank you very much. I learned a lot here. One of the things I learned was how to look at the organization I work with, not just Cooper Square, but other organizations also, in a unique way. I generally went from day to day, but now I understand in a much more dynamic way how to look at the organization and to make it better. And I look forward to making it better.
Thank you, Marsha. Joyce. Betsy.
Hi, I'm Betsy Fabricant with Vision Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
I'm senior administrator. I did all my talking on the video. So I'm just going to keep this very brief. Vision's mission is to provide services and programs for people of all ages who are blind or visually impaired to promote and teach independence. So Ann and I have been attending these classes, and our goal was to really look at one program that is struggling and to try to kickstart it or boost that program so that we can keep it. It's our only, all of our services are free, and it's the only fee-for-service program we've ever tried, and it's very difficult to get it off the ground. I want to thank you, because with all the coaches, and especially Dennis that got up at 5 in the morning to talk to me one day over the phone. I mean, the support that I got from this class has been tremendous. It's forced me to stop and look at things very differently. I think what happens to all of us, and it's been said over and over again, is that we get so engrossed in the day-to-day and the problem solving and the programs that you really have to step back to look at this. Now, I admit that I tried to do some of the work at home, but I didn't really have a lot of time to catch up. But I love the fact that I have all these handouts that when I'm ready to do this strategic retreat, because I think you really have to lock yourself away to focus on it, that I'll have what I need to be able to go through the process. So I thank you all very much. It's been very helpful to us.
Thank you so much. Anne.
My name is Ann DeShazo. I'm also with Vision's Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired. It was not my intent to be the last person to speak. I don't know which is worse, the first or the last. I took a lot of things away from this training, but the one thing that I do want to share that I took away was that we are an agency that is 86 years old. And with that being said, sometimes when you're with an agency that is that old, you get stuck in certain routines, you get set in your ways, and it's very difficult to make changes. And I think one of the things that this workshop has shown myself and Betsy is that you have to keep up, and you have to make changes, and you have to constantly reassess, and you have to constantly come up with new ideas. So I appreciate being here because I've heard a lot of good things from folks. I've gotten a lot of resources out of this, and also it has taught me that even though we're all very different and we do different things in our agency, at the end of the day, the mission is the same no matter what we do. And I really appreciate that.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you all. Thank you, full DYC, distributing our certificates. Dennis, can we just hear one sentence from you, and then we're going to have Kathy starting to call on the graduates. Dennis, can we get one sentence from you in completion?
Yes, I'd just like to thank everybody for the opportunity to work with you. It was great.
Thanks so much. Thank you, because we all enjoyed having you here as a leader. So, Kathy, what we want to do is start calling up.
And if you lose that vision of what it's going to be, and you're not committed to that, the chaos will just overwhelm you. But I believe strongly that you started with a high level of courage, and that by being here, you've already demonstrated a willingness to have a different kind of chaos, not born out of insufficiencies, but a chaos born out of a restructuring. You can be more effective in serving the people that you want to serve. So I just want to encourage you as you go forward to remain committed to a vision. It might end up, the final product might look a little bit different than you think. But be encouraged that you're on the right path, and that if you just stay committed, at the end of the day, a year from now, 5 years from now, you're going to look back and say, I'm so glad I was willing to be vulnerable and to go through this path. So thank you again for your courage.
That was really excellent. Really hit it right there. Thank you all. I think the message was just, it couldn't have been said better. You're going to receive your certificate. We're going to redo it.